So we have 1 yard of ribbon, 2 pieces of flannel in the heart shape. You're going to put one right side up, and we're going to put a mark up here at the top in the center where I kind of eyeball. It's not a perfect one, but I want to make sure I make the same mark on the other side. So I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to find that mark, pull this back a little bit. There it is. And I'm going to make a mark on the same place on the other side so that they're exactly in the same. Then I take this, I put that raw edge right in the center of that mark, and I'm going to pin it. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. It doesn't matter if it twists because we're going to cut it anyway, but I put those raw edges the same. So when I do that and I stitch them together, it's all going to come out. Now, what happens is when you put this on top, these get in the way. So in order to prevent that from happening, I'm going to urge you to fold these in half, back and forth a few times, and then just pin it in place so you don't have to worry about it. I had somebody, they stitched theirs in the wrong spot. It got caught in the seam. Once you have that, it's right side up. There's no right or wrong to that ribbon. So then we're going to put this one down on top of it, and we're going to pin. We're going to pin all the way around, perpendicular to the edge, but I'm going to leave about a 2-inch opening, 2.5 inches on the straight, so that we don't have to worry when it comes time to, we're going to hand stitch that shut. So when we do so, it's going to be much easier if it's in the straight instead of the curve. That's why I assign you to do it on that side. So I'm going to finish pinning. I'm also going to move my pin. I'm going to make sure my ribbon doesn't come unsettled there. We don't want it to move. We're going to pin all the way around. Do that perpendicular, making sure my edges are the same. And I'm going to make 2 dots, and it's to help myself pivot when it comes time. When you stitch this seam, it's going to be on 3/8. So I'm going to pivot at that point, 3/8 of an inch from the edge, right at that point, and the same thing here, about 3/8. This way you don't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, am I in the wrong spot? Where am I going to pivot? How do I go too far? So forth. So I'm going to start at this point, at this opening, back stitch, pivot, stitch all the way around, pivot, stitch all the way around, stop, whoop, stop there, and back stitch. You're going to have that. It's super easy to just stitch. Some of you are going to struggle a little bit with the curve, but just let your machine do it, like control it around so it goes around. When you do have it stitched, it's going to look like that. And what you've got to do is you take your scissors, and it's a curve, so we need to clip all the way around, clip this point. Don't clip your stitching. If you clip your stitching, you have to go back, turn your piece wrong side out, just like this, and restitch a little deeper over it, or you're going to have a hole there, and we don't want to have a hole in these pillows. Make sure that you cut off the extra down at the bottom. All right, and then the very last thing you're going to do, and this is a technique that you're going to use. I got to get this guy out of the way. He keeps on wanting to come out. So when we go to, before we turn it, we're going to press this edge down from back stitch to back stitch. And so how far should that be? How much am I pressing under? If this was a 3/8 inch seam allowance, I should be pressing under how much? 3/8, because that we want it to be continuous, and then we'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side, so that when we turn it, those edges are going to be on the inside. Let me show you what happens if you don't press that well, and I'll show you just really quick. These edges want to do this, and that doesn't look very nice on our pillow. Sticking out, not good. So when we have those creased, we will know once it's stuffed where to pin that shut, and we're going to slip stitch that. I'm going to teach you how to slip stitch so it looks like one continuous row. We don't want them to know where we stuffed it. That's the idea.